y'all, I'm Jessi Harry and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the great food content we do around here. Anyways, this week's What's for Dinner has 3 easy recipes, so let's get started. So the first recipe we're going to do is balsamic chicken and mushrooms. So we've got some portobello mushrooms that I actually switch out for button mushrooms later, just so you know. Some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, some light brown sugar, minced garlic, of course, probably in every single one of my recipes, some soy sauce, salt and pepper, balsamic vinegar, olive oil, thyme, and butter. So this is going to be a pretty quick recipe, so we're going to get it done. Alright, so first we're going to get the sauce made. I'm throwing in the thyme and then the balsamic vinegar. And as always, the recipe will be linked down below in the description box. Alright, once we got the balsamic vinegar in there, we're going to throw in some of the soy sauce. Some of it, all of it. Then I'm throwing in some brown sugar and the minced garlic. I'm going to stir it up really good and set it over to the side once it's completely mixed up. Alright, so now I've got my 4 chicken thighs and I'm going to salt and pepper each side really well to get them ready for the pan. So we're pouring a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and once it's nice and hot, I'm putting the chicken thighs down. Make sure that they're nice and spread out when you put them down. I think my last one that I put in the pan, I didn't do that too, so it kind of had to cook a little bit differently because you really need that bottom to spread out. So once the first side is done, go ahead and flip it over, and you do want to make sure the chicken thighs cook all the way through. They don't really take that long because they're pretty thin. Right, and here's how they're looking. Getting all the way done. So once those were done, I took them out of the pan and I put the mushrooms into the pan and kind of let them cook down a little bit until they got brown. And then once they were brown, I poured the sauce over the mushrooms. And right now I'm scraping up the brown bits from the chicken and getting that stirred into the sauce for a nice flavor. After that, you're going to throw in some butter. I probably use more butter than the recipe calls for. No shame in that. You're going to let it get melted. And then get it all stirred and mixed together into the sauce. Then I'm putting the chicken back in. Getting it good stirred and coated. Kind of letting that chicken soak in the flavor, as you can see. And also just making sure that they are cooked all the way through, because that's important. And here I am plating it up. We served this with some mashed potatoes, which I think was a great compliment to the recipe. Some green beans that I just cooked in some chicken broth with some seasonings. And then lastly, the chicken. So I took a piece of chicken and I made sure to top it with plenty of the mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Any kind of mushrooms. That's just my thing. So I made sure to get plenty of them. And then a little bit of that balsamic sauce drizzled over the chicken. There we go. Alright, so here it is. This was very yummy. I really like things that are cooked with balsamic vinegar. As long as it's not too strong, and this was one of the best ones I think I've made in a while, so you should try it. It was really easy, came together 30 minutes. Alright, so our next recipe is going to be P.F. Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, except for I'm going to put them on a salad instead of actually using them in a wrap. And I throw in a little rice because I love carbs. So we've got some ground chicken, some onion, some diced up mushrooms. These are the canned mushrooms because I used my white mushrooms in the recipe before this because my portobello mushrooms were no longer any good. So I just improvised, grabbed a can of canned mushrooms and diced them up. Easy peasy. Some green onion, some hoisin sauce, some olive oil, salt and pepper, soy sauce, some ginger. You can use minced. I just got the stir and paste from Aldi because that's what they had. Some rice vinegar, my minced garlic, of course. And then over here for the actual salad part, we've got, of course, some lettuce, some more green onions for topping on the salad, some sliced up cucumbers, and some shredded carrot. You can put whatever you want on the salad. This kind of fit the whole theme, so we're gonna get this going. Alright, so first things first is we're going to get the pan with some olive oil and get that heated up so we can throw in the ground chicken. I'm going to throw this ground chicken in and splatter myself with grease, which is why I packed up real quickly. Be more careful than me. Alright, and now I'm just making sure it's all broken up. It's done cooking. Just chop, chop, chop. And now that it's done cooking, we're tossing in that onion, the hoisin sauce, some minced garlic, not some, plenty of minced garlic as always, the soy sauce, and then we're going to throw in some rice vinegar, and also after this you can throw in sriracha if you want to have it. That's optional. I didn't put that in there. And also some ginger. I just opt for tossing that on afterwards, level of spice for each person. So once you get all that in there, you want to get it good and mixed up so everything coats the meat, especially that hoisin sauce because it's really thick. Alright, so now I'm turning up the temperature a little bit. Get that sauce kind of boiling. Reduce a little bit. And also so the onions can become translucent. And now that that's done, I'm tossing in the mushrooms and the green onions. I'm going to let it cook long enough so the mushrooms really soak up that flavor. And now that's done, so I'm going to make my salad. Do on some lettuce onto a plate, some shredded carrots, a little bit of cucumber. Like I said, you can put whatever you want on your salad. This is what we had on hand, so this is what I used. I am putting a little kimchi on the side because we love kimchi in my house. And I also didn't make this spicy, so I wanted a little bit of spicy kimchi on the side. Next, I'm putting a nice spoonful of rice. You can omit this step if you're doing a low carb. We don't do that around here. I wanted rice. It was good with the rice. Next, I'm tossing on the meat and veggie mixture. And then you can omit this step because honestly, the sauce has a lot of flavor. I actually doubled the sauce when I made this recipe, but I drizzled it with a little bit of this Asian sesame dressing. Here is the final product. This was amazing. I probably say that about all my recipes, but this was really, really good. And as you can see, it came together very quickly. So if you like these types of recipes, if you like the lettuce wraps, you should definitely try it as a salad and, you know, add a little bit of rice if you really like carbs like we do. Alright, so last recipe we're making is a taco spaghetti, which was also a very easy recipe this week. So we've got some cheddar cheese and some mozzarella cheese. You could probably just do one if you don't feel like buying both. Some regular spaghetti, some ground beef, we only use half of that, a tomato, some tomato paste, I love tomato paste in the little tubes instead of the cans, some rotel, salt and pepper, of course, olive oil, taco seasoning, that's my homemade taco seasoning, you can use a packet, and then minced garlic, and this is all going to cook in one pan, so it's super easy, and cleanup is going to be a pinch. So of course, first things first, we're throwing some olive oil in the pan and getting that warmed up. You actually could omit this step depending on what level of fat your ground beef has in it, so that's truly optional, whatever you want. So we threw that ground beef in, we got it cooked, and then I drained it, and I put it back in the pan, and now I'm throwing in tomato sauce, taco seasoning, both cans of Rotel. I think the recipe calls for one. I use two because I love it. Garlic, which the recipe didn't call for garlic. I added that for flavor. I sprinkled in a little bit more of my taco seasoning, and then you're throwing in the spaghetti. You are going to cook the spaghetti with all the other things. That's why I said it's very easy. One pot, cleanup is a cinch. And we're gonna throw in some water, and then of course I just kind of mix the noodles in so they're kind of mushed down into the water. We're gonna bump this up and get it boiling, and then once it's boiling, I kind of stirred it around a little bit, made sure those noodles were still going down, and turned it down low so it could continue to simmer until the noodles were al dente, medium low. Don't want to get that lid. Y'all were coming along with me. Pop the lid on and just let it simmer. Check the noodles occasionally. And here it is, trying to get it all mixed in. I think it actually took a little bit longer than what the recipe said, so just keep checking them. Once that was done, I took it off the stove, sprinkled that cheese mixture on top. I put the lid back on just so the heat could melt the cheese. And here we go. This is what it looks like. All cheesy, yummy, yummy goodness. We're gonna get this plated up, and I'm gonna top it with some tomatoes. The recipe actually says you can top it with some cilantro too. Mine had gone bad. I had a bad vegetable week apparently, but they had gone bad. That had gone bad, so I didn't use it. So here it is, all finished. I will say I recommend adding more seasoning to this recipe. I had the salt and pepper out. I didn't add it to it thinking that the taco seasoning would be enough. It wasn't. Add some more seasoning and make sure you taste it. But it was still really good and obviously really quick. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner. Again, if you're new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Please comment if you decide to make one of these recipes and which one you like the best. Anyways, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and thank you so much. Bye!